So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, wherever you happen to be in the world today. Welcome, one and all, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, to Coffee Talk. That's right, it's time for Coffee Talk, where we will be having a discussion about what is going on in the world today, taking a look at articles in the news and having some discussion, some of which will be rather snarky because, if nothing else, I'm good at pointing out the obvious. And there you go. So, of course, you are listening to and or watching Coffee Talk at Coffee Talk Live on YouTube, as well as at Prepper University on YouTube, simultaneously broadcasting on both channels Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time if you want to join the live portion of the discussion, as well as at Coffee Talk Chat on X, formerly known as Twitter. If you are so inclined, please do find me there. I can often post memes and such there that I cannot put anywhere else because I'll get in trouble. And of course, Fistful of Radio, that is fistfulofradio.com, podcasting out of Atlanta Monday through Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and Friday at noon. So, as always, I will try to read through as many of the comments as is reasonable for those of you who are listening and not able to see what is going on, so you can keep up with the conversational portion. And I'll go ahead and acknowledge some of the people that have chosen to chime in thus far. Not everybody can, but some like to. Donna Beaver is here. As always, reminding people thumbs up, like, and share. Yes, thank you, Donna. Please do if you don't mind. Helter is here. Dragon is here. D-Lo is here. Boogers is here. Raccoon. Bingo. Michael. Sean is here from Northern Illinois. Illinois. You know, I used to live in Elgin, Illinois. John is here. Velvet Pilot. Fluke Man. As well as Spectre and Sven in Michigan. That's close enough to Illinois. Although the laws probably aren't quite as bad, and I'm sure the taxes are probably not as bad either. I don't know, the taxes might be pretty bad in Michigan. As we get ready to dive into what is going on in the world today, some things you may have known about, some things maybe not, and time will tell. And of course, this happened. Everybody's already aware of this, I'm sure. We had the State of the Union address. And big freaking deal. State of the Union address, probably about the most boring television you're ever going to see anyways, regardless of who it is. And this is from an article. This article is produced by The Conversation. The Conversation is the name of the website. Biden defends immigration policy during State of the Union, blaming who else? Republicans in Congress for refusing to act. And by refusing to act, what he basically means is that Ukrainian package that nobody would sign off on, even the Democrats would not sign off on that. I'm sure he's not blaming them, though. But nobody wanted that package, that, what was it, $118 billion package. Roughly 1% of it was going to the border. 68 billion of it was going to the Ukraine. I think like 13 billion or something going to Israel, and the rest of it being thrown all over the planet to God knows where. I wouldn't have signed that. No one in their right mind should. But here we go into the article. President Joe Biden delivered the annual State of the Union address on March 7th, casting a wide net on a range of major themes: the economy, abortion rights, threats to democracy, the wars in Gaza and Ukraine, that are preoccupying many Americans heading into the November presidential election. I think most people are more so concerned about the massive influx of immigrants and the higher taxes. But, you know, these people, they're not in touch with the common man. You all know that. How long has he been in politics? 51 years? He doesn't know you. The president also addressed massive increase in immigration at the southern border and the political battle in Congress over how to manage it. We can fight about the border, or we can fix it. I'm ready to fix it, Biden said. Well, he created the problem, as many of you are aware, I'm sure, on the very first day of his presidency when he started signing executive orders. One of them was to no longer detain people at the border. And that's when we started getting this influx. Everything increased tenfold. They went from 800 a day to 8,000, like practically overnight. But while Biden stressed that he wants to overcome political division and take action on immigration and the border, he cautioned that he will not demonize immigrants, as he said his predecessor, former President Donald Trump, does. You know who else did that? Bill Clinton. I will not separate families. I will not ban people from America because of their faith, Biden said. What's faith got to do with it? People aren't coming here for because of religious persecution. I guarantee you. That's not why they're coming here. So yeah, what's driving all of the attention and concern immigration is receiving? This splits into a different article altogether at this point. Basically, talking points. Actually, if you could stomach listening to any of this, all you really heard was my predecessor, my predecessor, my predecessor. This is more of a campaign speech than a State of the Union address. That's what this ultimately felt like. Very staged, very polished, very controlled. It would have to be, because we all know it's extremely difficult for Biden to stay on track when he's speaking publicly. As we catch up some of these some of the comments. Fluke Man apparently likes my beard. Thank you, Fluke Man. Again, my wife asked me to grow it out, wanted to see what it looks like, and now she likes it. So the beard will stay for a while. Spectre says, are you talking about the comedy show last night? Yeah, basically. Well, and I see Cyberjack Sr. is here. Thanks for joining us today. And War Queen says, I caught a live. I have 9 cats, so I can relate to you and your rescues. Hope everyone is having a good Friday. Okay, yeah. Well, we're currently taking care of 14, War Queen. We're taking care of 14. There's only one in the room right now. Uncle is sitting behind me. Uncle is the 20-pound tuxedo cat that we decided to keep. He's like right there, trying to creep up to the window. How you doing, buddy? You okay? He's fine. He is actually, he was a wild cat in the beginning, but then he decided he wanted to stay, so he learned how to behave himself very quickly. He adapted very quickly. Spectre says one bald-faced lie after another, pretty much. And War Queen says he wants to fix it because he's about to be up for another election. Yeah, basically. Oh, I see what you're saying. War Queen corrects the typo, says 4 are rescues. 4 of her 9 cats are rescues. I understand. Excellent. Excellent. They're the ones that need it the most, quite frankly. You see, surprise some of the ones that I find, like Old Dad is one of the ones we call them, and Hobo, the one with no teeth, were in some of the worst shape of any animals we've taken care of. They were on their 9th life, believe me. But yeah, those are the ones that need it the most. But basically, that was a campaign speech. And the recurring theme with a lot of people in politics, a lot of lawmakers, seems to be, I will break something and then pretend to fix it and then pat myself on the back. You might recall a few weeks ago, we read that story from Kamala Harris, because she was saying that the biggest problem that her and Biden have in their administration is not showcasing their accomplishments enough. Who remembers that article? And it's like, are you kidding me? You're not showcasing it enough. You're not putting yourself on a pedestal enough. That's the problem. So people can't see how fantastic you are. We can tell whether you're good at your job or not. Borders are, okay? Because your actions will speak for you. And neither of you have done anything but sabotage. If you sabotage something, you don't get to break it and then half-ass fix it and act like you solved a problem and expect people to believe in you or to follow you. To me, that's unacceptable. Unfortunately, though, a lot of people are fooled by this. A lot of people are fooled by this sort of thing. because most people, quite frankly, again, are not that smart. They're not. I'm sorry. Sven says only the stupid will believe what Joe was saying. At this point, there is no excuse. Yeah, well. And Urban is here, Urban Angst. Glad you could make it today. And Mrs. says it makes sense if they are in bad shape. I'm suspicious of some cats because they act homeless but actually have a home and like to wander. Yeah, I see what you're saying. No, where we are, trust me, they're abandoned strays. But yeah, Hobo and Dad in particular, they were on death's door. Hobo almost the vet didn't think he was going to survive the surgery when he had to have his operation, and they kept him for a week, and they told me that I might want to stick a needle in him. It was like, oh, he's not going to make it. He's not. His wound won't heal. He won't eat. Blah blah. And I'm like, no, I'll take him home. I don't want to hear that. And yeah, he's fine now. He perked right up as soon as he got back. Wanted to go outside, sat on the back porch. That's his spot. He loves it there. He's there all day and all night. Him and Hobo never leave the porch. Fluke Man says AOC got harassed by a group of reporters. They so wanted her to say out loud Israeli are committing genocide. Yeah, we covered that story yesterday, actually. Got a taste of her own medicine. And she's the one that's been going around for years saying, oh, you need to harass these politicians. You need to harass these lawmakers and make them blah, blah, blah. Well, now look. Now look, AOC. And she's not going to say it because her puppet masters haven't told her to. All People is here. Glad you could make it, Unity. All People. Inspector says, Unity, my ass. He demonizes over half the population right at the beginning. Yeah, there's no unity. There's no unity. Kumbaya. Great melting pot. The great melting pot has boiled over. All People, okay, he says his little uncle, the protector of the other kitties. Actually, oddly enough, when we have kittens, okay, and by the way, kittens are the easiest to rehome, obviously. We've never had a problem taking the kittens to Halo House, the shelter we work with, and those kittens are adopted that day, easily. If there's kittens brought in, the other cats are upset. They'll growl and hiss, and they don't want nothing to do with them. Uncle will play with them. He's really friendly with them. So he's great with kittens, as big as he is, his big goofy self. And Miss says, I'm sad that some people still think voting will fix this. They are in for Trump. I don't have that kind of hope, to be honest. No, a lot of people believe that the voting works. And you know how I feel about the voting. It's if voting worked, they wouldn't let us do it. I believe George Carlin said something like that. It doesn't work. The idea behind voting is it's supposed to get rid of the bad apples. If that was true, there wouldn't be any. There wouldn't be any. As we jump around to a State of the Union article here. And this is about the governor of New York. New York governor prioritizes illegal immigrants for state jobs. Oh, that's just fantastic. That's going to win you votes. Good luck in the next election, sweetheart. New York Governor Kathy Hochul is pushing a plan to prioritize hiring illegal aliens for state jobs by eliminating certain requirements like civil service exams and high school diplomas. Wow. The aim is to expedite the process for illegal immigrants to secure state jobs once they have work permits. You don't know who these people are. You want to trust them in possibly sensitive positions? Okay. Quote, hotel owners and restaurant owners coming to me. Can you send some of the migrants up here? We need them. I hear this in every corner of our state, Hochul said. You're lying. I do not believe that for a minute. I don't believe that for a minute. That she has, I don't believe that she has even contact enough with the average person on the street that someone who works at or owns a hotel or a restaurant or something could come up to her and say, yo, can you send some immigrants my way? We be needing busboys. No, she's not talking to anybody. No one told her that. And if that's the case, send them there. What are you giving them state jobs for? You're just insulting the people who are born and raised in that state. Mayor Eric Adams also supports this initiative, aiming to address labor shortages. I bet he is. I would love to get migrants and asylum seekers to help with the lifeguard shortage. We've been successful in getting almost 30,000 people to file applications, including work authorization. We want more, Adams said. You do? Oh, which is it? You're crying about them overwhelming you in one breath, and then in the next breath, you want to give them jobs in the state. All right. State Senator Labor Committee Chair Jessica Ramos advocates for putting illegals ahead of citizens in job opportunities, proposing higher taxes on the wealthy to fund the positions. So you want to drive the people that pay the most taxes out of the state, give illegal aliens jobs, and ignore the average citizen in the street. I think that every single New Yorker that can and wants to work should be able to work, especially, I think, when we start looking at our state jobs and how many of them are readily available, Ramos said. In a state where we see the income inequality is worse than ever. Now, here we go with this. We had 120 billionaires in New York State prior to the pandemic. We're up to 135 today. That only means that more money is being hoarded, she said. It's not being circulated in our communities. So those people don't spend money. Those people don't spend money. You know, the majority of taxes, even if you taxed all the millionaires and billionaires like 70% of their salary, it would barely scrape the barrel for taxes. The majority of it comes from the average working schmo who's making 30 to 50,000 a year. This whole thing is insulting. It's absolutely insulting. A war queen is emphasizing here, says someone dumped poor babies, talking about the kittens. Three sisters, all of them had coccidia disease. They almost died, and now they're going to be a year in July. Well, that's good. Donna says, I will give the State of the Union, go buy gas, groceries, utilities, you are broke. All People says one high school teacher said that voting is more of a survey than anything else. And then Sven says California, they're going to give badges and guns to illegal. I'm sure this will fix everything. Yeah, they're trying to do that in Illinois too. All People says she's lying. Veterans would love those jobs. Oh no. And Bingo says, I think that's the point, to infiltrate the government. Yeah, and you could go on and on and on here. I don't believe that anyone told her that. This is a really notoriously bad idea. This isn't going to fix anything. All this is going to do is piss everybody off. What do you mean these people who can't, bad enough my taxes are paying for their food, clothing, shelter, medical care, school? You're taking my money and giving it to them. You're laying off policemen. You're laying off firefighters. You're laying off sanitation workers and sewage workers. You're closing down programs. You threw kids out of a high school and turned it into a shelter. And you had to do that because the migrants were harassing the kids when you had them living in the gym. I mean, are you trying to turn it into Escape from New York? Where's Kurt Russell when you need him? Spectre says they would love to see a president how stays out of the population life. What? I think you got a lot of typos there. I can't get through that one. I'm sorry. Dragon says, new headline next week. Hochul assures public that she won't give your job to illegal migrants. It's a one-time thing. Yeah, indeed. And then Dilo says, damn it, I was watching replay earlier. I don't know what's going on. But anyways, it doesn't stop there. Because at the same time she's doing that, and Monkey has joined us today. Thanks for joining us, Monkey. The same time that she's doing that, she's also doing this. Ramping up security. And this is a Daily Mail article. Stop and frisk ramped up to 11. New York Governor Hochul says subway riders who refuse bag checks should go home. They've basically militarized the subway system. New York Governor Kathy Hochul told subway riders who refused to submit to bag checks to go home. Her comments came as she defended, stationing 750 National Guard at the Big Apple's busiest stations in a bid to clamp down on the rampant violence rocking the network. You want to guess where a lot of that violence is coming from? I'll leave that up to you. The Guard members will be checking passengers' bags for weapons as they enter the system. Talking to Fox 5, Hochul was asked what passengers did not want their belongings searched should do. Go home, she answered bluntly. We're not going to search you. You can say no, but you're not taking the subway. Hochul was pressed on the 5-point plan she announced on Wednesday aimed at tackling the spike in violent subway crimes. You know, a lot of the crimes that take place in the subway is people getting shoved in front of the train. That happens a lot in New York. As well as various muggings, beatings, and things like that. Look at this. This is like the airport. For those of you who can see the images, you get rows of police officers at tables going through a woman's purse, going through people's luggage, and she's putting 750 National Guard in the subway to enforce security. Another thing that's going to completely alienate your average native-born New Yorker. Bag checks were first brought onto the subway following the 2005 London bombings. The policy appears reminiscent of New York's previous stop and frisk searches on the street, which were ruled unconstitutional a decade ago. My number one priority is the safety of all New Yorkers, Hochul said. If people are anxious in any aspect of their lives, particularly the lifeblood of our region, downstate does not function without a healthy subway system that people have confidence in. I have to do this for them. Really. Recent criminal activity on the trains making headlines including a cellist who was bludgeoned over the head by a stranger wielding a water bottle as he performed, as well as a shooting that killed and injured one and killed 5 others. Hochul further cited a subway conductor who had his throat slashed as among the fever sweeping the transit system. The conductor survived thanks to the quick thinking of a doctor who was on board. She also mentioned another MTA conductor that was hit on the head with a glass bottle as further evidence of the dire situation. Yeah. Indeed. That's what happens when you start getting rid of police. As we catch up here a little bit. All People says martial law will spread to every major city in the U.S. New York is a test pilot, and that is possible. That is a possibility. Cruising said so much for the Fourth Amendment rights. Way better to screw those than to lift the violations on the Second Amendment rights and pass a stand your ground law like Florida that would actually fix it. Yeah, and a lot of these people, if they were able to defend themselves, it would be a different story. Nobody just quick draws and dodge. Specter says it would be nice to have a president that stays out of the population's lifestyles and truly supports the entire country. And I've said it 100 times. I think most people, they really just want their lawmakers to do their job. Just do the damn job. Is it that hard? Enough with the social garbage. Enough with your personal agendas. Just do the job. Helter says that they're going to check the homeless people's bags too, because I feel like they're just going to stop regular folks going to work. Yeah. I'd like to see that, digging through some crazy homeless person's bag and finding chicken bones and cigarette butts and God knows what. And War Queen points out there's only 2 likes. Yes, thumbs up, people, if you don't mind. And Gary Edwards has joined us. And Bertrat is here. He says, you had one, but oh, those nasty tweets. Dragon says random bag checks. Basically, they're stopping and frisking free men and women with no reasonable suspicion. It sounds unconstitutional. Yeah, it is. But, they'll argue it's a private entity that's overseen by the state, the transit authority, and that they reserve a right. Same BS they pulled at the airport now, and everybody just kind of fold it up and let the TSA exist, even though they haven't stopped a single terrorist to this day. Not to this day. Inspector says getting people used to seeing troops on the streets. And Mrs. says illegal search and seizure. That's essentially what it is, an illegal search and seizure. And that's what's going on. More things to piss off native New Yorkers. Like I said, I guess she doesn't want to get reelected. And Mayor Adams is behind it 100%. It says the National Guard, so again, it's 750 National Guard, will be joining an additional 1,000 cops stationed in the subway by Adams. So now that's 1,000 police officers. Where are you getting them from? You're laying off police officers, Adams. 1,000 police officers, 750 National Guardsmen, plus the transit police, which were already there. These guys don't look like any of them. They look like state troopers in this photo. They just load the subway with law enforcement. You know, if there was a terrorist attack in the subway, most of the first responders in the city would be wiped out. Just making an observation. You don't put all your eggs in one basket. That's a bad idea. Sven says idiots following orders. And Flukeman said random bag checks so they don't have to chase after them because the West is getting fatter and fatter. Fatter and fatter. Well, that's why they have tasers. It's not for lethal response. It's because the officers can't catch people. They're too slow. They are too slow. This is an article. It's a little bit of an older one, but it's important. And it's been ignored. And it ties in. It's a Meow article, MEAWWW. It ties in with the border visit, the photo opportunity that Biden took, going to the border, pretending like he cares about what goes on there after he created the problem. Coincidentally, arriving the same day that Donald Trump does, who's been to the border before, as I understand it, and claiming also he didn't know that Trump was going there. Trump can't blow his nose without the world media knowing it. There's no way that he didn't know. Article reads, internet outraged. I don't care about that. I mean, what do I care what people say on Twitter? As ex-Border Patrol Chief Raul Ortiz says Biden and Kamala Harris never spoke with him. And that's important. It's like not only have they never been to the border except just recently for a photo op. Kamala Harris, when she went down there, the so-called border czar, never even, I think she didn't get within 40 miles of the border. Apparently have never talked to this guy. Eagle Pass, Texas is a scathing critique of the Biden administration's handling of the ongoing migrant crisis at the U.S.-Mexico border. Raul Ortiz, the former head of the U.S. Border Patrol, revealed that neither President Joe Biden nor Vice President Kamala Harris has ever engaged in discussions with him during his tenure. Ortiz, who led the Border Patrol for 2 years until his retirement in May, highlighted the lack of communication with the nation's top leaders, saying it was a significant problem. Quote, I've never had one conversation with the president or vice president, Ortiz disclosed during an interview on 60 Minutes. I was the chief of the Border Patrol. I commanded 21,000 people. That's a problem. Ortiz, who oversaw a tumultuous period marked by a surge in border crossings and the formation of migrant camps, including the massive encampment under the Del Rio Bridge, housing thousands of Haitian migrants, criticized the administration for sending mixed messages to migrants. Responding to a question about the clarity of the White House's messaging, Ortiz bluntly affirmed, yes, most definitely. We need to make sure that Central America, South America, Mexico, and those regions understand that if you pay a smuggler and you cross in between the ports of entry and you do not have a legitimate claim to some sort of asylum benefit, You're going to be sent back, Ortiz stressed. Despite overseeing approximately 4.5 million migrant encounters during his tenure, Ortiz never had the opportunity to meet with Biden or Harris, raising concerns about the administration's engagement with border security issues. That's a really bad look if that's the case, that Biden is not in communication with the chief Border Patrol agent down there, according to a politics professor at Oklahoma University. Yeah, it's a huge problem, but he doesn't care. He doesn't care because he opened the border to create a problem so he could try to fix it. And one thing that I reference from time to time is the fifth element. This is what a lot of these people are doing. For those of you who remember the fifth element with Bruce Willis, when, who is it, Zorn Enterprises? Zorn was the CEO of Zorn Enterprises. And the priest confronted him. Why are you doing this? And he gave an example. He swept the glasses off of his desk and they shattered on the floor. And he says, now watch. And like Roomba, you know, all these little robots came out and cleaned the mess up and drove away. And he was like, there, you see, you destroy something and you get to clean it up all nice and tidy and fix it. All these lawmakers, I think they're trying to destroy everything because they think they're going to fix it and be on the right side of history, but it's already beyond their ability to fix or repair. Cruising says these so-called law officers and soldiers would be the same guys going, get on that train car and not giving a damn as long as they get a check. Yeah. Historically speaking, the majority of them do follow their orders no matter what. War Queen wants to know, do you think Biden and his family are getting money for the other from the other countries that he is giving the American money to? If I can even ask that on here. If not, you can ask any question you want. If you get blocked, it's YouTube doing it. YouTube does police these comments. Their bot polices the comments. And sometimes people's comments get erased. I don't like messing with people's, if someone came in here and they were super vulgar and stupid, I might remove their comment, but otherwise I don't mess with comments. You can ask whatever you like. And, if I catch it, I'll try to answer it. It wouldn't surprise me because that's what's been on the books for both the Ukraine and China for a long time. And trying to get anybody to do anything about it has been difficult. We've read articles about this also with Hunter Biden and his art and selling his art and being like the only artist that the art dealer ever remembers insisting upon knowing who purchases his art. That's not a common practice. And selling his paintings for hundreds of thousands of dollars. And the people who bought the paintings coincidentally now work for the White House after Biden got elected. Crap like that. There's a lot of questions there. I believe it. I believe that there's a little wink, wink, nudge, nudge, shady kind of deal and money passing hands things going on. Whether or not it'll ever come to anything will be a lot. It'll be a shock to me even if it's totally exposed, anything is done about it. And Rodney made a donation to the channel. Thank you, Rodney. Much appreciated. It says the blatant contempt the Biden administration has for the U.S. citizens worries me. Would they be acting this way if they weren't sure of victory in the upcoming election? Well, you don't, you can't stop, Rodney. Once you're on that, you can't stop. What is he going to do? Suddenly walk up on the podium one day, Biden, I mean, and say, yeah, I've been in politics for 51 years and I never really accomplished anything. I'm sorry. It's all been a sham. And yeah, I took money and yeah, I did this. No one's going to do that. No one is going to do that. I think of, oh God, what was his name? Saddam Hussein. When he was on trial, who remembers the trial before they hung him? And he sat there. He wouldn't answer any questions. He still wouldn't admit to anything. Although he did say one thing that was very true. Quit wasting your and my time. If you're going to execute me, just get it the hell over with. I'm not going to tell you anything. You don't admit to anything. If you admitted to anything, you'd have to repent for it. No way. Fluke says, of course, President Dementia knew Trump is going to be at the border. He's the president, for crying out loud. Yeah, of course. Of course he knew. The War Queen says, because the little people can't do much, they have too much control over us. I really like how well you interact with all your questions and comments. I try to keep it conversational. I'm not trying to ignore anybody. Everybody has an opinion and they have a right to express it, even if they're wrong. I could be wrong. I can't be right about everything. I'm sure I mess things up. And if I do, I usually on the next day in the video, if I realize I made a mistake, I'll mention it. Say, hey, actually it was this. I got that wrong, whatever. Bouncing around, we're going to pick on Doritos. Remember, I used to work for Frito-Lay a long time ago. BBC article, Doritos cuts ties with transmogrified influencer over posts. Yes, this guy right here, Samantha Hudson, who they hired. Can't even be bothered to shave your pits, Samantha. That's really grody. Who they hired to be a spokesman. Didn't you learn your lesson after the Bud Light fiasco? They still haven't recovered from that. The company that makes Doritos cut ties with a transmogrified influencer after reports she posted about violence and pedophilia. Oh, Samantha Hudson, a singer and actor from Spain, has around 370,000 Instagram followers and was part of a social media campaign for the brand. In a statement, Doritos condemned Hudson's social media posts. That's what it had to come to. You couldn't have researched this problem, or you couldn't have researched this person before you hired him. Never mind the fact that everybody was pissed that you hired them in the first place. Then you find out that they're down for pedophilia and other stuff. Are you surprised? Are you? What is it? But its short-lived campaign led to calls led by right-wing activists in the U.S. to boycott the snack food. Doritos Spain, owned by American food giant PepsiCo, Yum Foods International, by the way. I think it's still Yum Foods International. Said it had ended its relationship with the influencer. Yeah, so you found out that they had gone a step too far and you finally decided to listen to the people that purchase your product. That's great. After the campaign started, we were made aware of Samantha's deleted tweets from around 2015. The company said in a statement, we strongly condemn words or actions that promote violence or sexism of any kind. Yet you're going to hire someone like this, but you don't want to talk about sexism. Okay. As a teenager, Hudson tweeted mocking posts about rape victims and wanting to do depraved things to 12-year-old girls, according to a report by Rolling Stone. Nice. Just can't win. Can't win. Sven says I was wrong once and then I became a conservative. There you go, Sven. And there's Monkey. It looks like a person's hairstyle got stuck in the 70s and 80s and never changed in modern times. Yeah, maybe he's going for that Madonna look, that 80s grungy Madonna look, hairy armpits and all, because she didn't used to shave them. Who remembers that? Fluke Man says, talking about Bud Light, I'm surprised and disappointed Trump standing up for Bud Light. Is he? I didn't hear that. And then Sven says, why can't they stick to making good tasting, unhealthy food? Because you don't need to advertise it. That's the thing. They are the #1 distributor of potato chips, that is Frito-Lay, globally. #1. Even when I worked there, #1. #2, believe it or not, Walmart and their counterfeit brands of Frito-Lay products is #2. And I've mentioned this before, just as a matter of trivia here. The reason why, and this is what Frito-Lay told us anyways, the reason why they don't go after Walmart for copying their formulas is because Walmart threatened them that if they do, they'll take all of the Frito-Lay product off the shelves, which makes up for 40% of their market value. Pretty dirty, Walmart. Real shady there, huh? Urban says that they're being censored again. There you go. And Monkey says Bud Light donates to the GOP. I see. Well, they probably donate to both of them. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. And Urban making another crack at it. It says regular working people are sick and tired of pedos and weirdos everywhere they look. Yeah, I got on a big diatribe about that the last 10 minutes of yesterday's podcast, actually, talking about and I made reference to the Monty Python Spam sketch. For those of you who remember, what is that, 1967 Monty Python Spam, the restaurant that only serves Spam and other things, and how they put Spam in everything on the menu and refused to take it out, and the wife didn't want Spam. The husband's like, oh, have the Spam, eggs, sausage, and Spam. It's only got a little Spam in it. I don't want Spam. And that's how I feel about all of that. I don't want it. If I want it, I can go find it somewhere. I know how to go find it if I want it. I don't want that. Stop bringing it to me in everything. Enough. Enough. And Flukeman says Trump wants to end the boycott, something to that effect anyways. Why would he do that? I don't know, but I haven't heard that though. I have not heard that though. But I can look for it. It wouldn't surprise me, but you never know. Speaking of activists, here's another offensive article, and this is out of California, and this shouldn't surprise anyone either. Confirmation, courtesy of the New York Post. Confirmation about paying people to pretend to be activists. California activist group pays students $1,400 to become racial and social justice warriors. There you are. A progressive activist group in California is paying students $1,400 each to become racial and social justice warriors, with the school district forking out hundreds of thousands of dollars to fund the propaganda program, according to a report. So this is your tax dollars at work. The Long Beach Unified School District funded $900,000 for a one-year contract to Californians for Justice, a, quote, youth-powered nonprofit that provides education and organizing on racial justice issues, according to a copy of the agreement obtained by the Free Press. The hefty contract, which runs until June of 24, includes $60,200 for 33 students and 10 families or parents to receive $14,000 each to participate in the training programs. So yeah, you're a teenager, you're 13, 14, whatever, and they're like, hey kid, if you come and join this activist program and hold a sign for us and take a couple of courses, we'll give you $1,400. Wouldn't you have done it? I think a lot of kids would do it, even if they don't believe in that shit. A lot of kids would do that. Very few would have enough integrity to be like, nah, you know what? All money ain't good money. The agreement states that it's to provide assistance to teachers, administrators, and selected students in building strategies to support cultural understanding and change. Doesn't sound to me like that's what they're doing. $900,000 in taxpayer funds given to the school district. This is what they do with it. CFJ boasts it has trained hundreds of youth of color in Long Beach to be community leaders and organizers. Is that what they're doing? Have they become leaders and organizers in the community, or are they working at McDonald's? Or are they standing around with a sign like these people? End racism in schools now, the sign says, that these kids are holding. End racism in school. What racism is there in school? Where is it? Where is it? The group explains it provides leadership development opportunities throughout the school year and summer to ensure our youth leaders gain the political education and valuable organizing skills they need to lead social justice movements. It's so fun. You get paid and you can have fun all the time. One student participant gushed in a recent video on the CFJ's Instagram. Oh, yeah. That's because they paid the girl to do it. It's called acting. It's called acting, folks. Oh, no. Sven says, take the money out of the board's pay. This needs to be a class action. It should be. That's not what that money, it's not even what the funding program says the money is supposed to be for. Not even what it's supposed to be for. Monkey says giving a kid $1,400 is a lot for them, so most will likely become the social justice warriors just only for the money. Exactly. They don't even have to believe in it. When you're a teenager, $1,400, and you get time off from school, and they want you to hold a sign and look stupid, sure, sign me up. It beats what I had to do for money when I was a teenager. I had to bust my ass. I've been working since I was like 10. Because, when I grew up, a kid could work. I've done everything you can think of. I was doing janitorial work in buildings and apartment buildings and an office complex. I worked in a flower shop. I worked at IHOP busting tables. I've been working since I was like 10 years old, delivering newspapers for the Boston Globe and the Boston Herald. I couldn't make $1,400 in a month when I was a kid. I couldn't make $1,400 in 6 months, even with all those jobs. Unbelievable. Monkey says this definitely isn't indoctrination at all. Totally normal. Yes, a hint of sarcasm there, I see. A hint of sarcasm. And you know what? That's why I appreciate the value of money now, though. I mean, kids should have an opportunity to do some kind of labor in order to appreciate the value of money and the importance of work and have a decent work ethic. This ain't it. We'll give you $1,400 to be annoying. They're annoying anyway. Oh my God. It's too much. It says this isn't the first year that the Long Beach School District has partnered with CFJ since December of 2019. Are you sitting down? The district has paid the group $2 million to work with them, according to the Free Press. $2 million that could have been better spent in other programs in the public school system, which is what the tax money is going to, or supposed to. Your tax dollars at work, folks, so that spotty, ugly kids can stand around on the street and be annoying. There you are. That's what I want to send my kids to school for. That's what I want my tax money to go to. Don't even get me started. I know somebody said they were from Illinois in here earlier. I know a couple of people are from Illinois here. And again, I used to live in Illinois, and man, the property taxes were insane. And most of it goes to the public school system. For what? This? It's bad enough they're not learning anything. What little you do teach them is destructive. It's turning these kids into a bunch of worms. It's disgusting. You don't know what to say. Don't know what to say, ladies and gentlemen. It's disheartening. That's why I always get on that bandwagon about homeschooling. If you're able to, and most people, you're more capable than you know. Plus, there are groups out there that will help you with homeschooling. Get your kids the hell out of public school, please. Please, I've worked with those operations too much. I worked for the Juvenile Justice Authority. I've worked for 2 different school bus agencies. I've worked with public schools in Topeka. I worked with a couple of private schools in Topeka too. Get your kids the hell out of public school if you can do it. The kids aren't learning anything. and it's a destructive environment. It really is. It's far worse than when we grew up, believe it. Go there and see. Go and look. Your kids are being programmed every day. You've got to debrief your child every single day. And I've harped on this plenty of times. By debriefing, I don't mean how was your day? Did you learn anything? Their day was shit. They're not going to tell you the truth about it. They're going to say, fine. And as far as learning anything, they didn't learn a damn thing. Nothing, nada. Find out what they tried to program your kid with and then talk to them about it and fix it before it's too late. But homeschool, number one, private school, number two, and public school, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Gary Edwards says, you got time to learn, you got time to clean. Oh, you got time to lean, you got time to clean. I see what you're saying. Yeah. War Queen says, if my child is paid that much, I would be tempted to ask them for help with the bills. Yeah, then there you go. Contribute something. And I don't have a problem with that either. If your kid has a full-time job, to teach them the value of it. How about from now on, you pay the water bill? You see what I'm saying? Something that's not too much of a burden on them, that they can certainly afford to pay, to get used to that idea that, yeah, you get a paycheck, guess what? It's not just taxes that are going to take a piece of it. Fluke Man says, looking at the image, the kids are wearing same t-shirts. That alone should raise questions. Where'd they get the money from? No child has straight mind or crazy will spend their own money to do that. No. Well, the shirts were given to them, obviously. Were given to them. It's part of the program, part of the indoctrination. Now, here's speaking of homes. I've talked about similar subjects as this before. This is important. And this is a Sun article, the U.S. Sun. And this woman right here, Emma Crabtree, no, that's not Emma Crabtree. What's her name? Her name was on here. Karoma, okay? Home raid. This is daylight robbery, cries homeowner as own home is sold without her consent over a $3,500 HOA fee. The HOA does have the legal right. Yeah, I don't like HOAs. I don't like HOAs, and I'm constantly making the argument that you got to be careful. You don't own your own home and you don't own your own property. If you have to pay taxes on it, or you're paying any kind of fees, in this case an HOA, it can be pulled out from under you in a heartbeat with no disclosure. Korma was one of the first residents to move into the newly built homes in the hills at Tealwood neighborhood, but 19 years later, it has all come crumbling down. The home health nurse, originally from Sierra Leone, has discovered that the Homeowners Association board voted for the foreclosure of her property due to her debts to the HOA. Korma owed the HOA $3,542.64 after falling behind on paying her HOA fees after she lost work during the pandemic. I know, depending upon your neighborhood, the fees can be high. I wonder how long this was going on, because that does seem like a lot. Quote, I didn't have clients, so there was nothing coming in. I was even behind on my mortgage. By the way, this woman is 68. She is 68 years old. The court order by the HOA to foreclose Korma's property was signed in the summer of 21, a year and a half before it was sold. This is a daylight robbery, Korma said. So basically, they sealed the deal in court in 2021 and never said anything. Then they sold the property and kicked her out. And she's like, what the hell? I've been here all these years, worked my butt off, and then all of a sudden somebody can just come overnight and take everything away just like that? How would you deprive a family, rip them off, and expect them to be homeless? They don't care about you, honey. You're already taking everything away from me, and I don't have anywhere to go, and I'll be under bridges. Is that what the law says? Unfortunately, yes. Yes, it does. Growing tearful, the homeowner begged for help to tackle the powers of the HOA. We don't have a voice. We're helpless. We need somebody to help us to fight the HOA. You buy your own house, and then they have to control you for everything. This is my retirement. I'm not going to give up without a fight. Korma had been making renovations to her property as and when she could afford it to eventually sell it to fund her retirement. The homeowner claimed that she was not notified of the foreclosure of her property by the HOA and that she only found out when she received the eviction notice. However, in the HOA's foreclosure application to the court, it submitted documents saying Korma had been notified by mail. Oh, that's great. Oh no. Yeah, and that's what I always hear in situations like this. They say, "Oh, well, we sent a registered letter or something like that." You can't prove that. How do I know you sent a letter? Because you have a notation in a file on your computer that says you sent one, and that counts. That counts. She didn't even know you went to court. She didn't even know you went to court. Miss says it sounds like she didn't read the contract she signed. The contracts are binding. Yeah, basically. And War Queen says, poor lady. And War Queen says, what about just having a mortgage loan that's more stable than the HOA? Well, the HOA is separate from your mortgage. It's separate from the mortgage. But this is where it gets hairy. According to Hera News, Zillow estimates Korma's home was worth $340,000. However, when a property is put through foreclosure, it's given to the highest bidder in an auction run in the county. The HOA takes out the resident's debt from the proceeds of the sale, along with legal fees and other costs, and the money left over goes to the resident who lost the home. Korma's home sold for $82,000. And this is how it usually goes, because I've seen stories like this before as I alliterate. How homes that are worth a fortune and they sell for next to nothing at public auction. So $340,000 house sold for $82,000. The HOA took their $3,500 and another $4,500 in legal fees. The legal fees are bullshit. And Korma is entitled to the remaining $74,000. Oh man. Says the attorney for the HOA says, unfortunately, from time to time they have to utilize this remedy in order to recover funds that are owed to the association that hasn't been paid. That's what happens. That's how it's done. And it reminds me of a story I read several years ago about a woman. I've mentioned this every once in a while. She was a widow of a veteran with a quadriplegic child. That there was a discrepancy of $6 and I think it was 27 cents for her property taxes to the county, and they did the same thing over $6 and change. And she was like, what the hell? You couldn't tell me I owed you $6? I'll give you $6. And they took a house that was valued, I think it was something like $280,000 or $280,000, something like that. And it sold for like $90,000 at auction. And they took their $6 and change and their legal fees and offered her the rest. And she was like, the rest, my house is worth almost $300,000. Look what you did to me. I've got a quadriplegic child. I lost my husband overseas in Afghanistan. What the hell? What is this? Oh, well, we sent you a notice. We mailed something to you. It's always the same shit. We mailed you something. I just can't trust it. I can't trust that. It makes me think of, what is it, Douglas Adams, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. They were bulldozing the guy's house in the beginning, and they were like, well, the notice was on the billboard board at the town hall. And he was like, who goes to the town hall? And it was on the basement, and the stairwell is closed for repairs. I wouldn't have even known. How the hell am I supposed to know about that? Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, Sven. they have a few choice words about the HOA. That's dirty. That's dirty. They could have figured something out. It's only $3,500. The woman lost her home. Fluke Man says HOA, just like all other organizations, sound good on paper, especially the ones that want to control you, controlled by controlled freaks who are tough behind the police and lawyers, but scared to confront you. Absolutely. And with that, we are at the top of the hour, so I will go ahead and start wrapping things up. Again, you are listening to and or watching Coffee Talk, and it is at Coffee Talk Live on YouTube as well as at Prepper University. Please do find me there. And I do the podcast Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, as well as at Coffee Talk Chat on X, formerly known as Twitter, and Fistful of Radio. There it is, fistfulofradio.com. Podcasting out of Atlanta Monday through Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and Friday at noon. Special thanks to Rodney, who made a donation to the channel today. Goes a long way towards helping all of the cats. Very much appreciated. And again, thanks to everybody who was able to join us here today. Hope you got something out of the conversation. And we will